I was born in South Philadelphia. I lived above my family shoe store until I was about 13 years old. I had the great advantage of going to good schools. I was able to get scholarships to University of Pennsylvania and then later medical school in New York at Albert Einstein. I went back to University of Pennsylvania for my residency in dermatology and then went to the NIH. I was at the Cancer Institute, so we dealt with the most serious types of cancer. But again, doing the research to develop new drugs. And while I was there in my group, we developed one of the early therapies for treating lymphoma and leukemia. And finally, I landed in Miami at the University of Miami on the faculty. While there, I had several ideas for new products as they related to dermatology. I think the first thing really, I'm not even sure you would call it an invention, it was an adaptation. There was an instrument that dermatologists use called a punch for taking biopsy specimens of the skin, and I can remember when I was a first-year resident at Penn, having the nurse having to sharpen and then sterilize that punch each time, and it was at the time when there was a movement toward disposables. And so I thought, gee, I could make a punch that was disposable so you wouldn't have to sharpen it and clean it ever. And that's what I did. And that turned out to be a interesting thing to do, not so much from a commercial point of view, because even though the disposable punch is now used all over the world as a standard, from a commercial point of view it was not very important. But it gave me the opportunity to use that asset to take over control of key pharmaceuticals. I had a great partner there named Michael J. Harris, and the two of us had the opportunity to build a company which 20 years later we sold to Shearing Plow. And all that while I was still doing dermatology as the chief at Mount Sinai here in Miami. And we started a second company called IVAX, and it was that company that 20 years later we sold to Teva. And here we are now with my third company, OPKO, having a great time developing new products with a big diagnostics business that we think will help a lot of people. Even from the beginnings in medicine, I always was interested in new projects, new ways of doing things, developing new drugs. And over the years, I've had the good fortune to be associated with the development of several that became quite important. I think what I'm most proud of is what Patricia, my wife, and I are up to now. And that is figuring out the best ways to use what we've acquired to help other people and to do good things for the community. We're interested in providing for a better life for those who follow us. And what we're very proud of is the School of Music at the University of Miami, the Art Museum at FIU, the new Science Museum, and the newest venture of ours is a new Institute of Chemistry and Molecular Biology at the University of Miami. And we like to invest in areas that we think are important.